The roar of the crowd shakes the arena, an electric current surging through thousands of eager fans. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation, a collision of two fighting worlds on the verge of something unprecedented. Under the dazzling lights, two men stand at opposite ends of the ring, legends in their own right. Warriors from different generations, different styles, but bound by the same primal instinct to dominate. One, a ferocious boxer with a history of destruction. The other, a brash, unpredictable force from the world of mixed martial arts. Mike Tyson, Conor McGregor. Two names that have echoed through the fight world for decades, now standing just moments away from an encounter that defies logic and history. The stakes? Legacy. Pride. The answer to an impossible question: what happens when an unstoppable force meets another unstoppable force? The air is thick with tension as the cameras zoom in on their faces. Tyson, a battle-hardened warrior, his presence alone enough to unnerve even the bravest opponents. The aura of his past glories, his legendary knockouts, the fear he instilled in every opponent, none of that has faded. Age may have taken its toll, but his hunger remains. Across from him, McGregor exudes confidence, his signature smirk barely concealing the fire in his eyes. He has built an empire on audacity, fought the toughest names in combat sports, and now he faces a challenge unlike anything before. A man whose power is spoken of in whispers, whose hands have sent giants crashing to the canvas. The question isn't just who will win, it's how will this clash unfold. Tyson, the embodiment of raw, devastating power, trained to dismantle with every punch. McGregor, a master of precision, a sniper who dissects opponents with timing and accuracy. The rules are clear boxing: no kicks, no takedowns. Can McGregor's adaptability and reflexes hold up against Tyson's relentless forward pressure? Can he avoid the storm long enough to find openings, or will Tyson's fists erase all strategy in a matter of seconds? The crowd senses the magnitude of this moment. A battle between past and present, between two men who have transcended their sports and entered the realm of legends. As the final announcements echo through the stadium, their eyes lock, a silent exchange of promises, of unspoken threats. This isn't just a fight. It's a reckoning, a test of will and legacy. The bell is about to ring. The world holds its breath. And then, as the referee steps forward, issuing final instructions, the crowd barely hears a word. The energy inside the arena is beyond anything felt before, an overwhelming mix of awe, excitement, and sheer disbelief that this moment is actually happening. Every person watching, whether in the packed stadium or through screens across the world, knows they are witnessing history. The bell is seconds away, and with it, an answer to a debate that has raged for years. Can skill and precision overcome raw, untamed power? Can a fighter born in the chaos of the UFC adapt to the calculated destruction of heavyweight boxing's most feared knockout artist? The story of this fight isn't just about two men in a ring. It's about their journeys, the roads that led them here, and the weight of their legacies hanging in the balance. Tyson's name is synonymous with destruction. The youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history, a man who once walked into rings knowing his opponents were already beaten before the fight even started. His punches carried the kind of power that changed careers, that left men crumpled on the canvas, questioning their life choices. Yet Tyson's career was more than just dominance. It was chaos, redemption, and the constant battle between his own demons and the expectations of a world that never stopped watching. He has been through wars, both in the ring and within himself, And now, at an age where most would be resting on their legacy, he chooses to step into the fire once more. McGregor's rise was a different kind of storm. A man who willed himself into superstardom, who spoke his destiny into existence long before the world believed in him. He didn't just fight, he captivated, entertaining as much with his words as he did with his knockouts. From the streets of Dublin to the bright lights of the biggest arenas, he had defied every expectation, proving time and time again that nothing was impossible. He had fought the best in mixed martial arts, crossed over into boxing against Floyd Mayweather, and now he stood here, across from one of the most dangerous men to ever put on gloves. Doubt had never been a part of his vocabulary, and tonight would be no different. Beyond the fight itself, there were layers to this event that no one could ignore. The buildup had been relentless, filled with verbal exchanges that blurred the line between respect and provocation. Tyson, ever the enigma, had remained calm, almost amused by McGregor's usual mind games. He had seen it all before, fighters trying to poke the beast, hoping to shake his confidence. But McGregor wasn't just another opponent looking for an edge. He was a master of psychological warfare, knowing exactly how to get under someone's skin. Whether it worked on Tyson, no one could say for sure, but one thing was certain: every word exchanged had only made the fight more inevitable. There were also questions outside the ring, the stories swirling behind the scenes, the negotiations that had made this event possible, the endless debates over whether it should even happen. The old-school boxing purists who saw it as a spectacle rather than a real fight. The MMA community, divided between those who believed McGregor could shock the world and those who feared he had stepped into something far more dangerous than he realized. Sports analysts broke down every possible outcome, some predicting a quick, brutal end, others believing McGregor's speed and precision could create something unexpected. But at the heart of it all, none of the opinions mattered. Only two men would decide the truth, and that truth was about to unfold under the unforgiving glow of the arena lights. The tension between the two fighters was undeniable. Tyson, silent but exuding an aura of destruction, his eyes locked on McGregor like a predator assessing its prey. McGregor, bouncing lightly on his feet, nodding as if he already knew how this was going to end. Every movement, every breath, every moment of this stare-down was thick with unspoken promises of violence. Somewhere in the crowd, former champions watched, their faces unreadable. Legends of both boxing and MMA, each one knowing how much courage it took to step into a fight like this. The seconds dragged, each one an eternity. The final pause before the storm. Then, at last, the bell. The sound that sent shockwaves through the world. Tyson explodes forward, his intentions clear. He isn't here to play games, isn't here to feel things out. His fists move with a speed that defies logic for a man his size, and in an instant the first punch is thrown. The crowd erupts. McGregor, quick on his feet, evades, circling away, his mind already working, already calculating. He knows he cannot stand and trade with Tyson. He has to be smart, has to move, has to fight the perfect fight. But how long can he stay ahead of the inevitable? Tyson presses forward, unrelenting, cutting off angles, his footwork more methodical than reckless. He is patient, but the danger is constant. Every twitch of his muscles threatens a punch that could end it all. McGregor responds, firing a sharp left, a reminder that he isn't here to just survive, he is here to win. It lands, but Tyson barely acknowledges it, the hint of a smirk on his lips. A dangerous sign. The first round is a chess match played at breakneck speed. Feints, counters, close calls. The world watches, holding its breath. Every punch carries the weight of 1,000 predictions. Every movement shifts the possibilities of how this will end. The clock ticks down, and yet the real question still looms. Who will break first? Who will find the opening that changes everything? Then, as the seconds wind down, Tyson steps in with a level of aggression that sends a ripple of fear through the arena. McGregor reacts, but is it fast enough? The crowd sees it before it even happens. Tyson's right hand cocked, loaded, aimed. If it lands, there will be no more questions, no more debates. Just an answer, delivered in the form of brutal, unrelenting truth. And then, the split second before impact feels like an eternity. Tyson's right hand, a weapon that has ended careers in the blink of an eye, is rocketing toward its target with all the force of a wrecking ball. The crowd gasps, thousands of voices merging into a single collective intake of breath. But just when it seems like the fight is about to be over, before it truly begins, something happens that no one saw coming. McGregor, in an act of sheer instinct or premeditated brilliance, does what few have dared to do against Tyson. He steps into the punch, not away from it. The Irishman ducks just enough to avoid the full force of the blow, his head tilting at the last possible moment. Tyson's fist still clips him, sending a shockwave through his body, but it's not the clean shot it was meant to be. Instead of collapsing, McGregor rolls with the impact, turning the moment into an opportunity. In one fluid motion, he pivots off his back foot and fires an uppercut straight through the narrow opening Tyson has left in his defenses. The punch lands clean. The sound of knuckles cracking against Tyson's jaw is sharp, unmistakable. The crowd erupts into chaos. Tyson stumbles back a step, not hurt but surprised. For the first time in this fight, something flashes across his face: amusement. A flicker of recognition, as if he suddenly understands that this is no ordinary challenger. McGregor, breathing hard, grins through the sting in his ribs. He knows he has done something almost no one expected. He has found a way to slow down the storm, even if only for a moment. But he also knows what's coming next. The atmosphere inside the arena shifts. The energy is no longer just about excitement, it's about survival. Tyson resets, eyes locked onto McGregor with renewed intensity. He licks his lips, a subtle nod of acknowledgement before launching forward again. The veteran has always had an answer for adversity, and now, with his pride on the line, he digs into the depths of his relentless aggression. The ring suddenly feels smaller as he cuts off McGregor's movement, forcing the fight into close quarters. The rounds press on, and with each passing second, the danger multiplies. Tyson's fists keep coming, and while McGregor's reflexes are sharp, his margin for error is shrinking. The punches he evades still graze him, each one chipping away at his energy. He lands his own shots, sharp and precise, but Tyson absorbs them with a terrifying resilience. Every exchange is a gamble, a moment where one mistake could end everything. The world watches, captivated by the razor-thin balance between destruction and defiance. But then, just as the fight seems to be settling into a brutal rhythm, another twist shatters expectations. Out of nowhere, Tyson does something completely uncharacteristic. He stops. Not out of exhaustion, not out of hesitation, but because something isn't right. He stands there, gloves raised, staring at McGregor with an expression that is neither aggression nor amusement. It is something else entirely. McGregor hesitates, unsure of what he's seeing. Tyson takes a step back, as if reassessing, as if listening to something beyond the roar of the crowd. And then, in a move that sends a ripple of confusion through the arena, He gestures toward McGregor, not in challenge, but in warning. The Irishman furrows his brow, momentarily forgetting the fight as he follows Tyson's gaze toward the front rows of the audience. Security guards are already moving, pushing through the crowd with urgency. The energy in the arena shifts from excitement to unease. Something is happening beyond the ring, something no one was prepared for. The commentators, who had been breathlessly calling every moment of the fight, suddenly go silent, their voices replaced by the distant sound of a commotion spreading through the audience. McGregor takes a step back, heart pounding, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. He looks back at Tyson, who now seems less like a fighter and more like a man who senses something the rest of the world hasn't caught on to yet. Whatever is happening, it is bigger than the fight. And for the first time since the bell rang, both men stand still, caught in a moment that neither of them controls. The camera feed flickers for a brief second, a disruption so minor most wouldn't notice. But those who do, those paying close attention, recognize that whatever is happening here tonight is no longer just about boxing or legacies. The fight isn't over, but something else has just begun. Tyson's eyes remain locked on the disturbance in the crowd, his body still tensed from the fight, but his mind now attuned to something else. McGregor follows his line of sight, confusion flickering across his face. The deafening roar of the arena shifts into chaotic murmurs as security moves with urgency, their radios crackling with orders no one in the audience can hear. It's as if the fight itself has taken a backseat to something much bigger, something unseen but undeniably real. Then, the power flickers. Not for long, just a fraction of a second, but enough to make thousands of people gasp. The massive screens above the ring distort, lines of static running across them before stabilizing. The commentators stammer, trying to regain control of the broadcast, their voices betraying an unease that's beginning to infect everyone. Tyson's stance loosens ever so slightly, his instincts telling him that the real danger might not be standing in front of him, but somewhere in the shadows of the arena. McGregor shakes his head, snapping himself back into focus. Whatever is happening outside the ropes is beyond his control. Right now, there is only one thing that matters: the fight. And he isn't about to let an unexplained disturbance rob him of this moment. With a sharp exhale, he turns back to Tyson, raises his gloves, and nods. The message is clear: we finish this. Tyson smirks, just barely, before stepping forward again. If McGregor wants to continue, then so be it. The final act of this war begins, and with each second, the intensity doubles. The punches are sharper, the movement more desperate. Both men have absorbed damage, but their pride keeps them upright. The ring feels smaller with every exchange, and soon, strategy gives way to pure will. The kind of battle where instincts take over, where pain becomes irrelevant, and where only one man will be left standing. Then, in a single moment, everything collides: timing, skill, power, and fate. McGregor feints left, a subtle movement that has opened doors for him before. But Tyson has seen too much, knows too well. He doesn't bite on the bait. Instead, he plants his feet and unleashes a right hook that is nothing short of a thunderclap. The punch lands flush. The kind that doesn't just shake bones, it rattles history. McGregor's body reacts before his mind does. His legs betray him, buckling under the force, and for the first time in the fight, he is sent crashing to the canvas. The crowd erupts, the sound of thousands of voices overlapping in shock and exhilaration. Tyson steps back, his breathing heavy, his chest rising and falling like a man who has just unleashed the fury of his past and present in a single, devastating strike. The referee rushes in, beginning the count as McGregor blinks up at the bright lights above, his mind scrambling to process what just happened. But before the count reaches 10, something interrupts the moment. A sudden blaring sound rips through the arena, an alarm, deep and mechanical, vibrating through the very foundation of the stadium. The screens overhead flicker again, but this time they don't stabilize. Instead, they go black. And then, a single phrase appears in bold white letters. EVSCUATEIMMEDIIATELY. Confusion turns to panic. Security personnel flood the aisles, their urgency shifting from routine crowd control to something far more alarming. The commentators have gone silent. The cameras broadcasting the fight cut to static before switching to an emergency message. Something is wrong, terribly wrong. Tyson and McGregor, still in the ring, are momentarily forgotten as the chaos spreads. The crowd surges toward the exits, voices rising in panic. The referee, unsure of what to do, looks between the fallen McGregor and the commotion around him. The fight, the war that had captivated millions is now irrelevant in the face of something much greater. McGregor, still dazed but conscious, turns his head toward Tyson, who remains motionless, his expression unreadable. The heavyweight legend isn't looking at the crowd or the screens, he's looking at a shadowy figure moving near the edge of the arena floor. Someone who shouldn't be there, someone who doesn't belong. Then, in an instant, the lights cut out completely. Darkness swallows the stadium. The final moments of the greatest fight ever seen are lost to the unknown. The cameras never catch what happens next. The official result is never recorded. And when the lights eventually return, the ring is empty. McGregor and Tyson are gone. No one saw them leave. No one knows where they went. And the only thing left behind is silence.